Hey, how's everybody doing? Hi. Just getting myself a little organized here. Oh, hello, everyone. Hi. Happy Sunday. How's the sound? How are you? Thanks for coming to my brunch. I'm glad you could make it. It is beautiful, beautiful Sunday, April 17th. 2022, and we are all still doing okay. Is that dust? That's dust. Or maybe it's not dust. I don't know. Happy Passover and happy Easter to everyone. I apologize. I had to take a few days off. I had a friend coming to visit. I think that's dust we're looking at right there. Anyway, good to see you all. See, I care. I put on makeup for you. Yes. Anyway, so awesome. I'm glad you guys could come. I've got all my nice drinks ready. I've got a nice cup of, I don't know what you're all drinking for brunch, but I don't know what that was. That was our spirit. Hello. The thing just flew by. Thank you, Joanna Burgess, for being a member and supporting this channel. You know, I appreciate that. Hi, Maria Sante. Happy Easter to you. Sarah Eschweiler is in the house. Thank you for coming. Jet Garabe? Hello. Thank you, Jet. Thank you for being a member. Hi, Kate. Travel to Row. Happy Easter to you. Good to see you here. Jody Rogers, yay, has signed up again for Elders, Empaths, and Healers. I'll be back on Tuesday. It should be a great lecture. I believe we're getting into the anatomy of the energetic body, of the astral body. So it's going to be a really good lecture. And that's Tuesdays for everybody who's at the empaths and healers level. Hi, Claudia. Good to see you here. Sharon Sipe is here helping. How grateful. Isn't that nice of Sharon? She comes here on Sunday. It's Easter. She keeps us on the straight and narrow, as does Cartomancy Mesquite. Thank you so much for your help. Aries girl. I'm an Aries girl. My moon is in Aquarius. I believe have I said hi to Cartomancy Mesquite? Welcome, Geocosmic Valentine, becoming an amazing heart-centered remote viewer. She's doing good work. Well, we'll keep saying hi to people as we go. What do y'all want to talk about? The concept of Easter, I was meditating on that, and I was watching a little bit of Linda while I was getting ready. And a lot of people talk about that. You know, this is the time of spring cleaning, right? So this is the time when we let go of the old and we make way for the new. So I guess that's the first question we're going to open the floor to on this beautiful Easter Sunday is how many people have been meditating on this idea of resurrection, that we get to reinvent ourselves every year, particularly around this time. How many of you are doing some deep dive cleaning? You know, in the Jewish tradition, we do a very deep clean once a year right before Passover. We go looking for chametz, which is any breadcrumbs, right? Any cookie crumbs, anything like that. We have to search the entire house. It has to be so clean and so inspected that you've searched every corner and you can't find a single crumb. That is some intense spring cleaning. But it's nice too. I mean, imagine how deep the cleaning has to be if you don't have a single crumb in your house. This is my coffee. What's everybody drinking? What's everybody drinking for Easter? I'm so glad we could have an Easter get together. My friend left yesterday, Saturday. She was here for Passover. We did not have a Seder. I looked around Portland to see if there were any Seders we could attend, and there weren't. So I said, but there were things like the elephant delicatessen that there were several delicatessens that could pack it up and you could take it home with you. But who the heck wants to do that? You know, I wanted to like go to a Seder somewhere, but I couldn't find one. Oh well. So I don't really have a lot of remote views last night. I did a meditation. I was going to do a remote view for you all, and I fell asleep. Full disclosure, I woke up at 6 in the morning. It happens. Sometimes I will want to do a remote viewing, and instead of getting a remote viewing, I wind up unconscious. But some of the things I think people are wanting me to look at, which we can definitely look at when we go into the blitzes. Just had a question by Jana about Jared Kushner selling out secrets to Saudi Arabia. It gets to be a little complicated because we're not at war with Saudi Arabia. Saudi war is, I believe, an ally, a strategic partner. Are they NATO or a strategic partner? As is Israel, right? So it gets to be complicated when you're sharing information with what you think is an ally versus the former, Russia. So it's interesting what's going on right now with Putin and the Ukraine. We can go ahead and we'll talk a little bit about it. Then we're going to go ahead and give the community prayer for everybody so that everybody can get a nice reading today on Easter oops, I spelled it strangely. But let's talk a little bit about what's going on in Ukraine. And if you did go to Mass and if you were putting out prayers and lighting candles, it looks like the Ukrainian army has been surrounded in Mariupol and they're in a steel factory protected, and they're being told to surrender by the Russians. So their situation is very delicate. So we certainly have to pray for the soldiers, the Ukrainian soldiers who are surrounded. By the way, did you notice my cough is gone? Nobody said anything. So we had storms and snow and sleet and everything, for the last few days, and it cleaned the air so well that I haven't coughed in like 3-4 days. Isn't that crazy? So whatever was making the air so crazy, we just had such good rains the last few days. I wish they would have the same rains in California, I guess. And it just really helped me with my cough. So I'm really grateful for that. But yeah, so we have to just really put positive energy towards the soldiers that are fighting in Mariupol. People are worried about that. Zelensky is concerned. Well, Bugs Bunny, Mila has a really heavy shed in the spring, and I was actually getting pieces of hair in my throat when she would sit here. So that's no, it was just too much dust and hair, but it ended overnight. Isn't that weird? I don't know. All right, so I want to look at Ukraine because I'm concerned for the soldiers. I also want to look at, I keep getting this energy coming in from Sweden. We know that Sweden and Finland are now talking about joining NATO, right? So I keep feeling some possible aggressive behavior by Sweden and possibly Finland as well. And evidently they've got a pretty good Air Force. So I'm still feeling some activity there. We're going to go ahead also today. We can look at Mariupol to see how the soldiers are doing that are being told to surrender. People wanted me to also look at Jared and Ivanka because they did speak. They both spoke to the January 6th committee and were cooperating. It kind of, we've talked about this in the past, that they would probably turn on Trump. What's interesting also, and I think people will want to look at it, has to do with Jared, has to do with Don Jr. was basically caught. I mean, that's crazy. Isn't Don Jr. basically caught in the middle of this whole thing? Isn't that what happened? I mean, isn't Don Jr. now being linked to being, he's far more involved in the attack than people had thought, right? I didn't expect that those kinds of texts would emerge. So he's in a lot of trouble. Yeah, Christian, snowing in Bend. My friend and I, we were going to go to Sisters, and she didn't have a car this time, and so we didn't drive. But even if we had, I don't think I would have felt comfortable going over the Cascades, and it's kind of a scary drive if you aren't careful. Oh, Mark Meadows is cooperating now because Mark Meadows wasn't cooperating beforehand. You ruffled a feather. No, Bugs, you didn't ruffle a feather. Yeah, Geocosmic Valentine. It looks like on November 5th, Don Jr. was basically saying, all the options they had, even before he knew who won the election. Yes, and Britney Spears is having a baby. Just in terms of fun news, Britney is having a baby. Oh, a baby. Isn't it wonderful? Yeah, so Britney is having a baby. Johnny Depp is suing his ex again. Oh, the celebrities and their mischief. These are the things that are happening. Anyway, would everybody like to get a community reading? Since I don't really have much to say about remote viewings today. Oh, well, I'm glad that she's going to have a baby if that's what she wants. I'm sure things will work out. Got to think positively. All right. Is everybody ready for the empath's prayer? Everybody got yourself a nice drink? You got yourself a nice mimosa or a coffee? Anybody here drinking a mimosa? Yes, Harry and Meghan got to see the Queen. Did they bring the baby? I hope so. You missed Spa Day. You got to join Spa Day. All right, let's do it. Let's do the empath's prayer. Let's give ourselves a reading for Easter. Okay, I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community. As we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records, we call on our spirit guides and good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journey. to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together we say, Amen. Let's do it. Let's give ourselves a reading. Ooh, Super Queen Bee, that sounds nice, what you're drinking. Anybody make themselves French toast or anything fancy? All right. What does Spirit want us to know? Ooh, waffles and Pete's coffee. All right, it's official. We're eating at Barbara's house. That's it, Barbara. Ooh, lasagna. Maybe Marie Wells. Oh, okay. Seska's got me now. She's got the smoked bit. Yeah, well, Passover, I'm not supposed to be eating that stuff, but you know I am. Potatoes and bacon and egg. Oh my. Oh my, you guys are doing Easter right. All right, where we are right now. Oh my goodness. See, this is the energy of spring. So basically, the message to you and the message to all of us is that we're entering into the time of spring. And so, spring is a time when people start to nest. It's part of the natural cycle, isn't it? That we get the nest ready. The sap starts to flow, we fall in love, we get a little romance going, we do a little bit of the dancing, right? It's that time of year, but it's also a time of letting go of things, right? If you want to bring love into your life, you've got to let the old go, right? So spring is all about letting the past go. If you're trying to minimize a little bit so that you can bring room in for what's coming in new. So the base of the matter right now for all of us, the message to you is the Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords can be a little harsh. She's got that metal energy. When we think about metal, right, we think about well, it's associated with the lungs, which is associated with grief in Chinese medicine. But lungs and large intestine are the metal organs. But Queen of Swords is associated with metal, and metal is sharp, witty, can be cold, very stoic, and is very much interested in letting the past go. And so there's certainly a feeling with the spring coming in that a lot of us are really, we want that old stuff. The reason why we let stuff go is because we don't want to be bogged down by stuff that we feel we've already dealt with, we've already resolved it, we've already let it go. So you've got this nice Queen of Rods. So people are definitely looking at their situations right now. What do I need to let go of? And it's not a particularly sentimental card, right? And what's coming in for us karma, 10 of cups, is love, marriage, commitment, beautiful relationships. So the stuff you're holding on to that is keeping you from intimate relationships and from the relationships that you want to have with others are the things that you let go of. The Queen of Swords is stoic. She looks at things logically. She's something of a scientist in that respect. Sharp, witty, smart, no holes barred, and lets the past go. So because she realizes it doesn't serve her. Where we are at right now, 9 of Wands, which can be defending our position. And then what's crossing us, 8 of Wands, rapid change. So if you find that you're having a hoarding problem, if you are the question you have to ask yourself right now is, if you're defending yourself and you're holding on to things and you're spending all this energy defending this stuff, is it really worth defending? Look at this. The 9 of Wands is the guy who is He's the jailer who's walking around the jail, making sure that nobody can get in. And then you've got rapid movement. So this is a time in people's lives where I think that they're just really having to put their defensiveness aside and let go of things that they once held on to. A lot of people are selling houses right now. There's a lot of movement in real estate. A lot of people letting go of, maybe they had too much house, maybe they didn't have enough house. But this idea of letting the old go so that the new can come in. Other thing that's been coming up for people a lot lately has to do with temperance, sobriety, particularly this time of year when we're just coming out of COVID and everybody's trying to get rid of that extra 20 pounds. But you can see, again, temperance always comes up for us, this need for sobriety. There's a big passion that's coming up for a lot of people also in the future. A lot of you are going to be starting new career choices, new business opportunities for many of you. That it's kind of nice that people spent their time in COVID coming up with creative new ideas for their careers. You can see you're sitting in the King of Rods, which is entrepreneurship and all that wand energy. So people are really starting to feel a lot of passion with this springtime energy. Look at that. Really, people are out there also focusing on health, getting back on the track, hiking, losing weight, temperance, sobriety. So it's a spring and summer of losing weight and getting back into life, getting back into health. I still see love and romance for many of you in the coming months, because this is the Suitors card and it comes to you in the 8th house, which would indicate a beloved is coming to you. You're very proud of how good your judgment is becoming, the hope and the fear judgment. So this is somebody who has let go of a lot of clutter, a lot of stuff that has held them down, is excited about putting your passions towards things that are actually going to get you somewhere. Extremely creative time for many of you, writers, artists, thinkers, musicians. Look at this beautiful, strong, artistic talent that's coming to many of you. Many of you are going to get involved in nonprofits and caring for others, volunteering. There's going to be a lot of activists. A lot of you are going to be emerging as activists in the coming year. I see many manuscripts being written, many books being published. A lot of art being created. And some of you could get political or be involved in community activism with those types of cards as well, to balance things out is your final outcome. What you fear, heartbreak, don't let it hold you back. Some of you are like going to go into politics, it looked like, very active. Interesting cards. Hi, Wendy Burt. Welcome to Elders and Empaths. Thank you for joining. Class is Tuesday, 5 p.m. Don't be late. Hi, Art Girl Reality. Yeah, those cards were definitely for you. A lot of amazing art being produced and books being published. There was a lot there about, I think of manuscripts as the Empress card, because the Empress is all about creativity and the arts. Oh, I know. The fairy, he always comes up from there and comes over here and flies around and then goes back. And he's more active when I do Gongyo, the fairy. Like if I do my morning prayers, I think it's definitely conscious. It doesn't follow the way of wind. It's just a light ball, and I don't know. I'm sure if they were dangerous, we would know. These light beings, whatever they are. Well, so that was basically it. The time of the artist. And don't sweat the small stuff too. I mean, those are cards saying that people were being bombarded and getting upset about stuff that was taking up your time that was not necessarily even productive. Let go of the relationships and the things and the stuff that doesn't suit you, with the Queen of Swords as the base, so that you'll free up your time to do the things that are going to be more productive, like publishing your book or completing your art or starting that new business. Or so basically, I think the message for the group is stuff takes time. All you have left is time. What do you want to do with your time? Because stuff is time. If you're emotionally attached to something, it takes you time, right? You're going to have to wash it. You're going to have to clean it. So the less stuff, the less time. The one thing about the Queen of Swords is that she's associated with time, putting the past, the future. In a way, she kind of controls time and how we're attached to time, what we do with our time. There's no right or wrong. If you're someone who collects a lot of stuff and then you love being around your things and spending time with your things and polishing your things and cleaning your things and changing then it's okay to have a bunch of stuff. But if you're just bogged down and, oh my God, I got to take out the trash, then I got to do this because I've got too much stuff. So I don't have time to do my art. I don't have time to pursue the things I have passion for because I'm too busy taking care of all this stuff that has taken my time. That's what this reading was about. Look at stuff as time and meditate on the issue of time, the Queen of Swords, the timekeeper. And what are you going to do with your time? How do you want to spend your time? Is it worth every object, and think, is it worth my time? Because if it's not worth your time, let it go. Otherwise, if you're somebody complaining that you don't have time to finish your book, or I don't have time to do this, that, and the other, right, Geocosmic Valentine, because of this aspect of time that's closely connected with the Queen of Swords. Isn't that crazy? So when everybody is ready, we will do some blitzes. And then whatever questions people want, we can get to. I'll be here for an hour or so. I just need to get the blitz, blitz, blitz away order. Oh, Cash Peters had a lot of, he always does. Cash has a great channel. I love his channel. I like everybody. I watch all the other readers. It's entertainment for me. I mean, I like them too. All right, so Joni has been very patient. So she would like us to take a look at Biden's numbers. There's a lot of bad press. I mean, the way that they cut and edit on Fox, he looks like he's got Alzheimer's and can't put a sentence together. And he does stutter, but he's been that way his whole life. So part of what's hurting him in the polls is the fact that they're just hitting with the fact that he's old and he's senile. The other thing is the economy, inflation. People are worried about food scarcity in the coming months. So everybody is hoarding. Let's take a look and see about Joe Biden's approval rating and how Joe Biden's going to be in the coming months. Well, let's take a look. How is Joe Biden's numbers? Okay, so part of the issue they're having with Joe Biden is because he does what he says he's going to do. So the more he fulfills his promises, his campaign promises, the more upset they become, because there's something coming up here about him refusing to back down on his campaign promises. So that became a big issue for the Republican Party. So, for example, when he said he was going to, the first thing he was going to do when there was a seat opening on the Supreme Court was that he was going to nominate a Black woman for the Supreme Court. And then he did what he said. Getting out of Afghanistan, I don't know if it was a campaign promise, but a lot of people wanted us out of Afghanistan. Didn't go. And then when we left, it was a disaster. But people forget that a lot of Americans wanted us out of Iraq and Afghanistan. But you can see here, Four of Cups, which is a refusal to change. So there's a stubbornness here with Joe Biden. And that could be precisely what the Republicans have an issue with. If he had picked somebody like Merrick Garland, would we have seen the embarrassing behavior that the Republicans engaged in when we saw the hearing last, 2 weeks ago? It was embarrassing. The other thing we see with Joe Biden is the fact that there's a lot of money that's being poured into everything they can to get the Democrats out of there. You can see here huge money. So I think it's dark money. I think there's a lot of money that's being invested in ensuring that Joe Biden will not be reelected and that his campaign will go badly. You can see here's the first house for Joe Biden, Magician. This guy is a seasoned campaigner, and he's a seasoned politician. Magician in the first house. Remember how everybody said that he wasn't going to get nominated for the presidency because he was in 5th place and they ruled him out. And then he came in after, South Carolina? So he still has the Magician in his first house, which would lead me to suspect that he's not particularly concerned about his he's not concerned about his numbers. And according to what he is saying in this remote and in the cards, Joe Biden is saying, don't worry about it. My numbers are going to rise over the next 6 months. Joe Biden's numbers will rise over the next 6 months. So it's not something we should be concerned about. You can see here, his first house is the Magician. He will make it happen. He will manifest it. No, he will not back down. He will not compromise. His karma card, he's dealing with huge chunks of money, both possibly coming to him, but also the opposition. He's the Magician. He manifests, and then he's got victory over the next 6 months. 6 of Wands is crossing him. Victory. So I don't think that Joe Biden is worried about these temporary glitches. What is above him? Knight of Rods. So he's mobilizing young, strong people to go in and fight for him. This is the Knight of Rods. This is like the cavalry's coming. It's the Buddha judges. It's the millennials, right? So the millennials are not concerned with things like LGBTQ, oppressing the rights of it. That's not the average millennial who's going to be voting in their 30s. 40s, they don't care about that stuff. They care about the economy, food shortages, that sort of thing. Job security, wages, those are the issues that the average American is concerned about. Jobs. It's the main thing that he is focusing on now over the next 6 months is good paying jobs. Also, he's got a Knight of Rods in the 4th house, which leads me to think that Biden is bringing out a young, aggressive energy. He's coming out of 10 of Swords. Doesn't surprise me because things have been horrible with the Ukraine and everything else that's going on. Page of Cups. He's going to come in as the healer. This looks like an aggressive move over the next 6 months for him to try and stabilize the economy, bring in new jobs, and to help because people are under financial constraints. Also, people can't afford to buy a house right now. So inflation is up. They can't afford to buy a house. Job numbers are awful. People are terrified. We're on the verge of World War III. The stock market's a mess. And of course, everything has to be Joe Biden's fault, right? Everybody wants to blame Joe Biden. So his judgment is sound for people who are worried about his mental acuity. Others in relationship with him, the people he's having issues with, the trickster, the con artist, juggling money, the hope and the fear that he will be victorious, Ace of Swords in battle. And the final outcome for Joe Biden, it's going to get bloody. Knight of Swords, we could find ourselves in a pretty aggressive war or having to engage in some type of military action, possibly because of what's going on in Ukraine. But the final outcome is the Knight of Swords. So we are entering into a potentially bloody or violent phase in his campaign. He's carrying a very heavy load, in his term. There's a new beginning being built for the Republicans, like they're building some kind of new party, I guess would be the best way to put it. The hopes and fears for him, heartbreak. He gets his wish. We're going to see an increase in military action in Ukraine. I think the Americans are going to be involved. I think we're going to see some aggression from Biden. Possibly he's going to increase his military assistance with a Page of Swords. And I think that his numbers are going to increase over the next 6 months with those cards. That's what I see for Biden. What do you think? Okay, let's see here. Oh yeah, Foggy Ozark, you're right. He broke his foot with that new dog I think the dog didn't know how to walk on a leash or something. He got a rescue. Now they've got a cat also. Did you see the Biden kitty? Oh, thank you for my color, complimenting me on my colors. Okay, so we have a question here from Claudia Pava. Russia illegally deported Ukrainians to what they call filtration camps. They take away their passports. Horror stories are being known. More than 120,000 children were taken. Oh my God, I don't know anything about this. It sounds like a nightmare. Let's see about Ukrainians infiltration. This is just, can you imagine how bizarre? It would be like us arresting Canadians. It's just talk about a nut jobs. Just crazy. All right, let's see what we can about the filtration camps. Let's see about these filtration camps. We'll do a blitz on it. There are some Russian laws about how you can and can't treat civilians. So there are some people in positions of power in Russia that are trying to make sure that people are treated okay, because you can see here justice and sound judgment. They get their wish, and then captives. So there seems to be some laws protecting anybody who's a civilian. This is something that's come up before. And they're going to be moved. They'll be used to negotiate release of, they're going to be used to release Russian soldiers and Russians taken. You can see negotiations here. 10 of Pentacles over justice, which would be family. And then 2 of Pentacles, coin, judgment, get their wish granted. And then 3 of Wands, which is wish granted. And then they are moved probably back. The Chariot. It's going to be used as a hostage. They're going to be used as a hostage exchange. there seems to be some woman in a position of power who's overseeing that area, talking about what they can and can't do with civilian populations. But it's just a trade, just like what happened with the mayor, that they got out of that area and exchanged him for something like 10, 20 Russian soldiers. So that looks like that's what's going on. And if they kill them or something, they can't exchange them. But also, I think there's just, if they're not soldiers, they're civilians. Well, Paula, welcome. Paula was a little late. She took her grandkids to a Easter brunch. Well, we certainly understand the importance of grandkids, so we're just glad you made it, Paula. There are crazy things going on. Linda is talking here about canons that were written. Spiritual books, some during the biblical times, have suggested that Jesus was never crucified. I don't know. I'm not a Christian scholar. I'm a Jewish girl. So I will let the Christians figure that one out for themselves. But I do know what you mean. There are a couple different, like the Book of Thomas, right? Is that what it is? The Gnostic books that didn't make it, and many of them show women in positions of power and all kinds of things like that. So, yeah, that's the story. Okay, so the questions that the Gnostic Bibles. All right, so the question that I wanted to look at had to do with, first off, Don Jr., as you all know, is in trouble. The Jewish girl should look into it. I don't know enough about it. All right, so basically what we're looking at today, and you guys can continue to ask blitzes if you like. Actually, I'm going to hold off on the Don Jr. one because this is one that look a little bit more at Mariupol. So Claudia Pava, she wants to know when the siege of Mariupol will end, and if, of course, extra help to reach the Ukrainian soldiers. I'm really afraid for Mariupol because the Ukrainian soldiers are completely surrounded, and so I really hope that it's almost like I feel like Sweden or somebody's going to come in. But let's take a look at the fate of Mariupol. And then we'll do the Don Jr. I wouldn't be surprised, Linda Hepburn, if Jesus was married, because in the Jewish tradition, you're supposed to get married pretty right away, really. You weren't really allowed to be single. It's not a culture that promoted celibacy. You were supposed to get married and have lots of children because of war, and so many people died. And it's actually forbidden by Jewish law for a Jewish man not to marry and have children. It's actually an actual law. So you had to get married. It was an actual Jewish law. You must get married. You must have kids. And so for that reason, people speculated that if he was in his 30s, of course he had to have been married. It would have been unheard of for a Jewish man to have reached the age of 30 and not been married and not had kids. So it's possible that when they got taken over by Rome, which had celibacy cults, celibacy was not part of Judaism, they erased his wife and kids. That's very possible because it's a different culture. Okay, Mariupol. Okay, what they're dealing with, there's a new beginning there, and Archangel Michael again. So you have a new beginning in spring for Mariupol, And you have Archangel Michael coming, the Page of Swords, the Sword of Truth. Something is going down there. I mean, I don't even understand half of what's going on from the perspective of Russia. Like, what were they hoping to accomplish, really? So you have double pages. Wow. Where they're at right now. Look, hold up in the church. What's crossing? The sun is coming out. We're going to be able to get into Mariupol. We're going to break it open. The sun is coming out over Mariupol. There's the investigation. This is the woman from the EU. There's going to be a serious investigation. They are collecting all the data, just like when we did the remote on the churches. They were ransacking the churches. The people were running into the churches. They killed those people. They were buried outside of, I think the name of the church was St. Peter's. Is that correct? They were also stealing religious icons. So then the priest, etc., they had to go through the building to the church to determine how much had been stolen by Russian soldiers. All this stuff was ransacked, everything that's gone on. But the fact that the Queen of Pentacles is coming in, she's the secretive queen. She collects the information, is overseeing it, the wish. So it goes back to what we'd heard recently where the Russians had said, well, we know we're never going to be forgiven for this. So does that mean that they continue to do what they like since they already know it's too late? Look at that Queen of Swords, Ice Queen. And now what we're entering into, the King of Pentacles. I feel like experts are going to be coming into Mariupol. They're going to be collecting data about what happened. Everything's going to be documented. I think the truth is coming out because Archangel Michael, who represents the truth, also it can be spying. So there's information coming out. There's a lot of theft. It was a lot about wealth and money and resources. So it goes back to what Russia had said, that they felt that they were being ripped off, that they felt NATO was blocking them, blocking trade. So they felt that they had a right to take this stuff since NATO was costing them money, since the EU was costing them money. That's why they stole, because you've made life hard for Russia. Russia is poor because you've been boxing us in. You want to take control of the ports, and then which we built, and then charge us extra to get stuff coming in. You want to control this area, right? So it was all about the wealth, controlling the wealth. There was some confusion by leadership, Russian leadership, where they didn't totally understand. Nobody was in charge. They didn't really have. Everybody was running around just killing and maiming. There didn't seem to be a prime directive. You can see here the other in relation. So this would be the army, Moon. When they were just saying, kill everybody in Mariupol. It's that kind of a feeling, like complete confusion. What is the prime directive? Why are we here? What are we looking for? We're supposed to be killing Nazis? Like, people just went in, and there's this Moon card here, like nobody was in charge when they went in. Hopes and fears, the destruction, the Tower. And then the final outcome, the Empress. That's Russia's card. Let's see here. Karma. Russia thinks they're going to control Mariupol. They're going to steal everything. They think they're going to control it, and then they're going to ransack it, and they're going to take everything. That is their goal. They want to be permanently based there, and they're going to take everything. Theft. If there's no response, or if they don't get more help from the West, the goal of Russia will be to be permanently placed in Mariupol, and they will ransack it. There will be nothing left. So for that reason, they have to go in. All right, this question is coming from Kimberly. Will Germany stop buying oil from Russia, as this is allowing the financing of Putin to continue this war? Yeah, good point. Let's look at Germany buying oil from Russia. Debin. They're going to have to find another place to get their oil. They're going to have a new contract because they're really messed up. I would say Germany's very messed up because you have 10 of Wands, which is carrying the heavy load, and look at how constricted they are. So they're going to have to try and find the oil somewhere else. There's the Truth Seeker and Knight of Pentacles. Things are going very slowly. I think that Germany is going to have to find somebody else because they really messed themselves up by wanting to do oil with Russia. Biden's going to negotiate a deal where they can do trade for oil with someone else. You can see the King of Cups coming in. They really messed themselves up with that contract. Six of Wands is moving in, which would lead me to suspect that they're going to get out of their contract with Russia over the next 6 months because Russia has gone insane. I mean, they really went nuts. Hello, you matter to me. So let's take a little mini break here. Did anybody go to church today? Yes, no? Anybody going to brunch later today? Anybody watching Egg Roll? Ah, this is your church. Very nice. That's very nice of you, Debbie. Oh, you went to Jose Andres restaurant. A lot of these restaurants, particularly the ones where they're famous for the brunches and stuff, they you got to make reservations or you can't get in. The buffets, but do we still do buffets after COVID? I still remember those. What are they? The yeah, like the nice buffets that you would get. Pickling eggs, yummy, yum, yum. Egg rolls, no, an egg roll on the lawn. You're supposed to have a race where who can. Oh, you went to a buffet last Sunday. Very nice. Very nice. Well, that's good. Okay. Video chatting with kids is nice. I always have the same thing. Like sometimes I'll have an orange juice too, but I'm somebody who I really like drinking a lot of different things at my brunch. Like I always have my ice water. You always see me having my ice water. And then I always have my coffee. And then I will always have, then I might have an orange juice or a smoothie as well. So those are my drinks that I will usually have at a buffet. I mean, at brunches. All right. If you haven't had a chance to do so yet, it would be great if you could subscribe to this channel. All of that stuff really helps. Also, if you're trying to get in for a reading with me, you can go to tarotwithwhimsy.com to schedule your appointment. If you need a 5-minute reading, you can send me a message through Wizio. The information is in the description of this video. I think it cost 20 bucks. And then I can get the question back to you. It usually takes about 5 minutes. I can get the question back to you usually within less than a week. So Wizio is I love Wizio because it basically means if I wanted to, I could travel all over the world, and I have Wizio. So people from all over the world can send me questions and I can answer them through Wizio. So it's official. The Oracle of Whimsy, my alter ego, the Oracle of Whimsy, is now more search engine on YouTube. YouTube is a type of search engine, right? More searches are for the Oracle of Whimsy than for the Oracle of Delphi. So I'm very proud of that. The Oracle of Whimsy lives on. We have built a myth here at the Oracle of Whimsy. We have created a myth. So when I pass on, if you need help from the Oracle of Whimsy, as long as you give me gifts of Pete's coffee, I will answer. But I thought that was very cool that we had so many people searching for the Oracle of Whimsy that it was greater than the Oracle of Delphi. I found that very entertaining. All right, so Foggy Ozark has a question. She wants to know about this oligarch. Now, I believe Putin is the godfather of his daughter, and he's been captured in the Ukraine. He's been captured in Ukraine. Not many searches for Mila yet, unfortunately. But let's see what's going on with this guy, because he is a great negotiating tool. Okay, let's take a look. What is going on with this oligarch? Victor Medvedchuk. Yes, that's his name. Victor Medvedchuk. What's going to happen with Victor Medvedchuk? Oh, thank you. Oh, Olive has 1,000 followers on Twitter. Maybe I should do something like that for Mila. What's going on with Victor Medvedchuk? Okay, what's going on with him right now? I mean, it's again, you think about how many Ukrainians they're going to be able to get out, because this guy's worth a lot of hostages. So magician power, and then 3 of Cups, which would be brethren or rejoicing. There's a new beginning in April for him. Gets his wish. So they couldn't. He's definitely in a good position to be for a negotiation, because they've got a wish card over April, the 4 of Wands. So they probably want to get him released as soon as possible. Look at this. He's worried about being assassinated or having his body desecrated, like if they were to do something like a Mussolini with him. He fears that they will torture him through the streets as an example or something like that, which I think would be a bad idea, to make an example of him, because he's a very valuable tool for them. He's confused about what they plan to do with him. He's arrested. He's chained. They're working out a negotiation for trade. You can see the Lover card coming into the 6th house, which is near future. Devil. He feels like he's in hell. The Russians are grieving because they've got important people captured. It's not just him. There's a couple important people captured. Hopes and fears. So the Russian military is being blamed for not adequately protecting him. Final outcome, Hermit. They're looking for a solution. I don't see him dead. He's a big prize, and so they will negotiate they will get a good deal from him. That's basically how this looks. It's about making a deal. You can see here Hermit and then Ace of Pentacles, which is wealth. So it's about trade. It's about trade. It's about wealth. It's about magician power and wealth, and what they can get in exchange for him. Just like when they got the mayor back from that town. Interesting, huh? So thank you everyone who's been donating and supporting the channel. There were a couple other things, announcements I had to make. Oh yes, I'm having some problems with Booksy. If you do try to book through Booksy, I'm not able to run people's credit cards, even though they hold the credit card. It's a mess. So I'm having to send people PayPal bills. So I apologize. That's a mess. Something else I was supposed to mention. I can't remember. Oh yes, thank you everyone who joined Patreon as well, who joined the channel, and also Patreon. I'm going to try and put some more videos up on Patreon for people that are Patreon supporters. So I appreciate that. All the donations and everything that makes the Oracle of Whimsy so gosh darn special. It's much appreciated. All right, I think we're going to do a couple more questions for people and then call it a day. I'm sure there's other readers that'll want to come on since it is Easter. Is there anything else I need to say? I don't think so. Yeah, so Monday I'm going to call Booksy and see if I can fix it. If I can't fix the booking through Booksy, I'm going to have to go with some other company, which is a pain in the tuchus. So if you are trying to reach me, if you are trying to book a reading with me, send me an email at whimsyanderson@gmail.com, and we may have to just do it by hand or something, because if you can't get, it's just a disaster. I'm sorry about that. So the midterms, I'm a little nervous about the midterms. But at the same time, I just feel so frustrated too, right? Because like, what's going on with Merrick Garland? Like, oh, I did a remote. I did a remote on Merrick Garland, and I felt like he was so fastidious. He was so fastidious and so controlling of every single document that went out of the Justice Department. I felt like in some ways it was a bad match for him, because he won't let anything out of the Justice Department unless it's perfect, and it's really slowed things down. So what it looked like is people are begging Merrick Garland to get more help because he has to oversee everything. And the reason he's doing that is because he wants the strongest cases possible. But he is way, 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 way too slow. So they may be sending people in to help him. That was the one thing I did get. Thank you, Christopher Guala, for that generous donation. It was very kind of you. Oh, church online is a good idea, by the way. People that were able, you can't go to the mass, or you can't take your mass, but you can do everything else. Okay, so I was supposed to look at Don Jr. That's right. I forgot. I got wrapped up in everything else. Let's take a look at Don Jr. Am I the only one that's stunned that Don Jr. was sending information like that? Isn't that crazy? So let's see if Don Jr. is going to jail over this thing, and then we'll look at midterms. Don Jr. What is going on, Don Jr.? Yeah, he and his wife were, yeah, it's crazy. Let's take a look. Don Jr. The justice, there's legal action against Don Jr. He's in trouble. I would say it's pretty bad. He's got the Justice Department right over him as the base of the matter, and his karma card is a judgment. So I think he's going to get charged. It's not legal what he did. Knight of Pentacles, going nowhere. This guy is such a nudnik. I mean, he's always getting himself in these crazy situations. What's crossing him? King of Cups. I think that's Merrick Garland's card, isn't it? Look at that. He really got himself in a pickle. Look at that. 8 of Swords in his 4th house. What he's sitting in. Look at that. Page of Swords. Knight of Swords. This guy, he's very angry about the situation. The Emperor, his father, going into 7 of Wands, defensive. He's very defensive and very angry about what's happened to him. The Lovers, working with others, methodically investigating him, the opposition, his hopes and fears, the Tower, that everything's coming down around him. The King of Pentacles, the GI man is right over him. He's going to get charged. Not only that, but there's more questions from the FBI happening. Confused. He's just a confused person. You know, it goes back to what Ivanka had said when we did a remote on his mother. She never felt good about the children getting involved in Don's businesses. That's what she said to us. She never felt good about this. She always knew it was going to end badly. And she was right. Jill Otero writes, Mark Meadows, voter fraud. So what are we going to see? Yes, I think he's going to go to jail, Don Jr. But let's take a look at Mark Meadows. He did do it to himself, didn't he? Let us look. Mark Meadows. What's going to happen with Oh, really? I thought Mark Meadows was refusing to cooperate and was claiming all kinds of crazy stuff. Looks like some more, we're going to see more action by the Justice Department after Easter. So they come back after Easter break, and it looks like we're going to start seeing more evidence against people, more criminal acts after Easter. Yeah. Charges, major charges are going to start to come out against people. Sobriety and strength from the Justice Department. Look at this tower coming down. A lot of evidence coming up this summer. Look at that, cases this summer from the Justice Department. Evidence again. King of Cups. I would say that Mark Meadows probably is definitely negotiating, because Queen of Cups is the negotiator. She's a mediator. She wants peace and harmony. So I think we'll probably see some more charges coming up from the Justice Department very soon in the coming weeks, up until the summer. And then we're also going to be seeing some open cases, some open stuff being discussed with hearings in Congress also this summer, I think. Well, that was fun. Did y'all have fun? Did we have a good time? Yeah, did you have a happy Easter? The midterms. Okay, one more. We'll do the midterms and then it's going to be off for Whimsy, off to make her bed. And I got to figure out what else I'm going to do today. I'm learning QuickBooks. Doesn't that sound like fun? Midterms. What is going on with midterms? Midterms. A lot of people are in legal trouble. A lot of these Trumpsters are in legal trouble. A lot of people are going to be dropping out. Chariot, and look at this, Death, and Two of Pentacles, Tricksters, and then Knight of Rods. So we could be seeing a lot of crazy stuff between now and the midterms, with people dropping out, people being in trouble. People being arrested, people being charged. Also, they lost a lot of their gerrymandering. They lost something like 6 seats that they had previously to gerrymandering. So it's not looking that good for the Republicans. Look at this. Like I said, dropping out. Look at that. 8 of Cups. And then Death, and then smoother waters laying ahead for Democrats. Also, something about tricksters going to jail. Look at that, the jail card, the tricksters. It's not going to be as bad as people. What's going to save us is the new map and the new districting. We are ahead 11 seats, and they've lost 6, which puts us a total ahead of something like, actually, I think we're ahead like 17 now or something because of redistricting, according to 538. So it might not be as bad as people think. It doesn't look like it's that bad. And it looks like there's a bunch of court action as well with those cards. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. Thank you, everybody, for subscribing, for liking, for sharing. Again, if you need to have a 20-minute reading or a 5-minute reading, a quick question from me to you, I'm happy to do it for you through Wizio. If you'd like a phone reading, I give readings to people all over the world. You can find out that information by going to tarotwithwhimsy.com. Those are 30-minute or 1-hour readings. If you'd like to support me on Patreon, the Patreon information is below this channel as well. If you'd like to join and be part of our group, Fairies and Angels, we get together on Saturdays. We have fun. We give personal readings. If you'd like to join us for Empaths and Healers, we teach people how to do remote viewing, and those classes are every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Be good little boys and girls. Play nice with the other children. Be sure and support the other readers. And I will see you all soon. Happy Easter. Happy Passover. Light and love to all of you. Thank you for the donations and support. And I will see you next time. We are out of here. Bye, everyone. Thank you.